government furnished material, maybe?
I hit live.
Oh?
I think we started literally with you talking about what GFM might be. Doesn't matter. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to a political recap stream with myself and Trups. Say hello, Trups.
Hello, Trups.
How is Trups?
I'm doing pretty well. Took a day off, so I'm happy.
Are you in the festive spirit yet?
You know what? It's been pretty shitty weather, but I'm in the festive spirit. I would say so. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. I myself am in the festive spirit. Thanks for asking. So much so that I'm doing all the overtime over Christmas, including Christmas Day, of course.
Cut me off before I could actually ask.
Nah, fuck it. It's too late now. It's too late. You don't
I
get
literally
it.
like cocked my head and looked at the screen like, you fucking what?
Yeah, I got you. It's been a very interesting week in the world. My parliament,
Yeah,
especially,
it really
has been quite funny. I'm sure yours has. I saw a number of American things going on. The wall was definitely a focal point, but there are other things involving Rush Limbaugh. I've even got the articles for it, with him claiming certain things and how Democrats are celebrating. And I think there's even a video of Nancy Pelosi dancing.
Oh dear.
Which,
yes, Anne, I am back with the cane.
yeah, I made you like bigger as you asked. Okay, you got what you wanted.
Yeah, I'm happy.
Well, that's okay then. Last thing I want is for it to look like trash, I guess. Hopefully it stays working today. Yesterday, the chat didn't pop. No donations popped either. It all failed miserably, so I had to pop the YouTube chat and pay attention to other things because it wasn't alerting me to anything, which was quite irritating.
I also saw that you guys had a interesting parliamentary session yesterday. I popped into your
PMQs.
stream.
Yeah, that stuff was funny, especially afterwards, which we will talk more about today because that actually kind of has continued to spiral.
Oh, has it? The thing with Corbyn?
Yeah, okay, so I guess I'll start with this. I just want to go and find the correct video first because I didn't actually grab it. And I could have put it in a rabbit room, but I'm not gonna. Yeah. Corbyn calls May stupid woman. There we go. That should give up. Right. 16-second video. Right. I'm gonna transfer to. I'm gonna go to. I'm not gonna go to. I'm not gonna go to the thing with the place. Yeah. I'm just gonna press play. It's only 16 seconds, so this should.
Do your thing.
Yeah. I haven't got earphones in, so if there's an echo, I'm not sorry.
Some advice for the right honourable gentleman. Look behind you. They're not impressed, and neither's the country.
This, as many of you know, has sparked an intense debate. Intense, I have you know, like totes intense as fook, because apparently he said stupid woman, but I say he said stupid people. I got it in the context of referencing pantomime and the way that the Conservatives responded in a pantomime manner to what Theresa May said. Therefore, and based on how I lip-read it, it was stupid people. Most of my chat yesterday agreed. Well, this has kind of continued to spiral because people are saying he's they're continuing to accuse him based on supposed lip-reading specialists declaring he said stupid woman. But that's not what I saw. It's not what anyone saw. To the point where politicians are now following him around, not politicians, to the point where
Protesters?
Journalists are following him around, and it caused him to have a little bit of a meltdown. I will link you the article because I haven't yet. But there's the article. I'm going to pull the video up for it because there's a video I believe in the article, but there's an ad on it, so oh no, actually the video is not showing an ad, so I can just go straight to it. Here we are. We have the video. This is on the Daily Mail. And this is a bunch of journalists talking to him, but it's gonna be quite clear. And I'll turn the fuck you. What is it with players that don't do that? Here we go.
Very clear in Parliament what I actually thought and said at the time, which
Was stupid people.
was the behaviour of Conservative MPs in turning the very serious issue of the failure to negotiate properly on Brexit, turning it into a pantomime. And I said what they were was stupid people for their behaviour.
But you're not using respectful language.
I muttered it to myself, actually, in Parliament, and you and your colleagues in the media seem utterly obsessed with this. The fact that a homeless man died outside Parliament has got no coverage whatsoever, and it should.
But do you not think the respectful nature of Parliament is important?
The respectful nature of Parliament is very important, and a whole lot of Tory MPs turning the issue of a no-deal Brexit into a pantomime, that is serious. Very clear in Parliament.
Is that true?
Yes, that is actually true. A homeless man did in fact die outside, so he is quite right to highlight that. He, again, I will always restate, he is very passionate about human rights. I can't fault him for that. Because...
No, absolutely not. And actually, the fact that the journalist almost didn't even care and just went, but you know, respectfulness, right?
Yeah, that seems to be the thing. They think that parliamentary behaviour is so important, but if I'll be honest, I think most people would tend to agree. I would rather see them absolutely holler at each other, shout obscenities. Be honest. And he was muttering to himself. He wasn't looking at her saying, "You're a stupid woman." Like, right at her, dead on. "You're a stupid woman." No. He muttered, "stupid people." Unless it's Jewish human rights, you're quite... Yeah, okay, the Labour Party has a problem with Jews.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's understandable. It has continued to kind of spiral. There are MPs that have accused him of misogyny. Now, Burko did consult lip speakers, so it's people who can hear but interpret for deaf people, and they believe he did probably deliver the quotes slur, but no one could be 100%. I am 100% certain he said people. He did not say woman. There is no similarity with people and woman. The mouth doesn't move the same way.
Like, if we slowed it down, like 0.25 of the actual speed.
Yeah, okay, I'll go and get
depending
it
on
and
just
do
how
that.
the first part of his fucking face moves.
I'll slow it down to 1.5, okay? And we'll go back. I will put that there. Political recap. Here we go. Right, ready? Oh shit! Hang on. I've sped it up, haven't I?
Yeah, no, you want to turn it down to 0.25 or 0.5. You can probably feel this.
People. Yeah. People. I should have muted that because that sounded like something from the Matrix. It seems pretty clear. Stupid people. Yeah. I'm sorry, but that's a p, not a w. I don't agree with the sentiment that he was being misogynistic. This has continued. Obviously, there's more to it than that. Many articles, like the one I've linked to, and I will link in this in the description afterwards, reference times where sexism has occurred, where David Cameron told Angela Eagle to calm down, dear. Thing is, that wasn't misogyny. That was a play on from an old advert. Jeremy Corbyn quotes mansplaining International Women's Day, which he didn't. Theresa May just said that's mansplaining. It's not, it's explaining. Emily
Isn't that the most interesting thing in the world? Explaining is mansplaining, but it's honestly like it's the same shit. Like,
yeah.
Okay,
and
first of all, explaining
right,
and mansplaining, like, there is no difference. One is just done by a man to a woman, and the other one is
no, it's the
what a wife does to a husband.
It's supposedly when a man does that, it's in a patronising, condescending manner. So there's supposedly a bit of context there, but it doesn't really matter. Another instance of supposed sexism was an accidental clash when Boris Johnson called Emily Thornberry by her husband's name. He called her Lady Nuggie or Nugie. which was her formal title. Because, yeah, Labour are like totes down with the people. They're not in the House of Lords and shit. No. William Hague branded a Labour MP a stupid woman. But, yeah. John Bercow himself compared Esther McVie to a washing machine.
Is that sexist? Like, what is?
Well,
the
he said, "I'm
context
reminded of
that
the feeling
insult?
when one thinks the washing machine will stop, but it doesn't." He's also called other people stupid woman as well. To be honest, I don't consider that kind of commentary, calling someone a stupid woman. I don't think that's sexist. I think it's just a personal attack. That's it really.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
just
if I called you a stupid Cthulhu-Kin, it's not racist. That's what you are.
yeah, that's right. That's right. Respect.
See, I know.
Yeah. The article that I've linked, it does point out more MPs say they believe he said stupid woman. You've got Tory MPs saying, read my lips, I don't believe him. Other backbenchers saying this isn't okay, pouncing on this idea. The thing is, this moral outrage, but without understanding what they actually said, it's ridiculous. And Tories are hardly one to jump on a bandwagon. They've got an MP who willingly called someone a stupid bitch in the Parliament. I'm sorry, you don't have a leg to stand on. And the moral outrage on that was obvious enough. People then obviously jumped on the misogyny train by saying when MPs like Charlie Elphick got given his position back as a whip. Now, the reason he was suspended was because of an investigation into a sex offence. Thing is, he was never charged, never prosecuted, and never convicted. Therefore, all he did was answer the questions the police gave to him. That's all. There is no proof of anything. Therefore, the Tory party were well within their rights to reinstate him to the role. Jess Phillips, though, pounced on that and said, misogyny! Because that's what she thought it was. It's just silly.
Yeah, it really is. It feels that way, honestly. It just feels as if they're just picking at straws.
There are plenty of lip readers that have said he did in fact say stupid woman. I'm sorry, the p is too obvious. Too many people have pounced on this and totally gotten it wrong. I have to actually defend Corbyn. He is right. He did not say stupid woman. And if you think he did, get your eyes tested. And if they have been tested, remove them. Honestly.
Yeah, Owen makes a good point. It's a distraction. It would be interesting if that were true to detract from the possibility of Labour support, especially if Jeremy Corbyn were to institute a vote of no confidence against the Tories.
Okay, so yeah, he was supposed to have done that now, but he hasn't, which means he's missed his opportunity. I think the only reason he didn't do it was because he's waiting for the vote on January 14th, and then he'll do it. Because if the government loses the vote, then no deal has to happen, and he won't want that. He'll want to keep us in the EU and force either a second referendum or something else.
Well, no, it's a lot of hogwash, honestly.
It is, but unsurprising, it's Parliament for you. I was even talking to we've got a couple very kindly doing the fence in our garden, and one of them was watching it yesterday, and she believed he said woman, and I was like, nah, he said people. I showed it to her again, and I was like, people, p. It's like, nah, it looks like a were. Like, no, p. Mouth moves differently to were. I don't know why I keep going.
Honestly, it's that whole popping thing. Like,
yeah, it's not
man.
a were. Come on. Anyway, should we talk about the fundraiser?
Yes, please.
Let me pull it up first. What I'll do is I'll pull this up and I'm going to refresh the page, because when I made the thumbnail for the stream, as many of you know, it sat at 5.6 million. Within the space of an hour and a half, it's at 7. So let's just refresh this. 7.2 million now.
Oh my god.
So tell us all about this, Trups.
So, a Iraq war veteran decided that amidst all of the arguments and the conversation about, oh, the border wall needs to be funded, it's integral to national security, and that whole spiel with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer that we talked about last week, he took it upon himself to set up a GoFundMe in which he plans to acquire a goal of $1 billion and assist in a portion of the wall. It has been met with, well, apparently resounding success. In 3 days, they've raised over $7 million.
118,279 people have donated to this.
Which is honestly absolutely insane. Could you imagine, right? Like, this is kind of a non sequitur and kind of feeds into more of a liberal plan. But could you imagine if we were that animated about anything else, we could get things funded?
It'd be insane.
But, right,
by the way,
but
that is an average of $61 per person.
Yeah, honestly, I've seen a bunch of them only been going hundreds and things like that.
Yeah, I see it. If I scroll down here, okay, this is in the tens, not the hundreds. But earlier when I had it, every single one of them was over $100 each. It's ridiculous. Amazing.
But I quite like to see it because it kind of shows the Democrats where they're gonna go wrong. If they keep pushing this kind of idea that the border wall is wrong, then pretty much everybody here, there's 118,000 people, a moderately small number, I guarantee it. But in retrospect, the fact that they're raising this much money, those people who are against this idea aren't going to get elected by these people.
Nope. It's a lot of votes.
Yeah, it's a lot, and honestly, I'm impressed and I'm skeptical at the same time. Patriarch of the Sith actually makes an interesting point. Makes me wonder if this is real.
Okay, so
well,
actually,
the fact that
that's a point. You have one donation here, Congressman Luis Gutierrez, but in the description it says, "Do not make donations in celeb politician names." So we don't even, if that is him, her, him, then that's fine, but it would have to be confirmed, I think, because they could be refunded.
That's right, because they need to be able to actually, have a legitimate kind of thing. What the hell is it called? Donation.
Yeah.
Because technically, federal employees wouldn't be able to.
Ooh, there's a donation. $500 just now by Francisco Denunzio. I refreshed the page. Got a few of them over 100. $500 though. From a very American-sounding Denunzio.
Oh yes, quite. What's interesting is that a lot of the people who are really, really into the whole like border security thing, especially when it comes to Hispanic Americans coming through, is actual Hispanic Americans. The ones who have come here legally and have gone through the trials and tribulations of the process, they hate illegal immigrants more than the white guy.
Why is that?
Because they make us look bad.
They have earned the right to be in your country.
Illegal immigrants coming in,
there we go,
basically take every effort that people like my father, my grandmother, went through to get here, worth nothing, because everyone would then hate on the idea of Hispanic American immigrants.
It makes sense that someone's gone through the hard work and effort to come to your country, and then they see someone else just walk in. It deflates them and makes them think, well, I could have just done that. I've earned my right to be here, and you haven't.
Especially when they end up doing, committing crimes and doing stupid shit. Yeah. It makes people who come from those countries look bad. It's like there's actually a whole slew of Texas Mexican Americans who can't stand the other, the illegal Mexican Americans. Just Mexicans, yeah. When they come in, because that completely invalidates them and all the effort they put through, because people are just going to look at both of them and say, you're Mexican.
I'm loving...
And that's a real shame.
Yeah, of course. I'm loving the description, because it has a number of questions. How do you know this is not a scam? explains somewhat concisely how it's not. How will we get the funds to the right place? That's pretty informative. We have contacted the Trump administration to secure a point of contact where all funds will go upon completion. When we get this information secured, we will update. And then you have underneath Republican Representative Stephen Palazzo of Mississippi introducing legislation to direct the Treasury Department to issue government savings bonds, which will allow us to fund the war with this method. We will hold all funds and not release a single penny until we have legal aspects covered to ensure our money goes only to the wall. Well, if only more charities operated in that kind of way, instead of just releasing money to governments who then just blow money, cough, Africa, cough. It'd be fantastic. And it's Merry Moistmas to everyone. Just going to say it too, because Serene pointed it out. Merry Moistmas.
Merry Moistness.
What's wrong with Merry Moistmas?
Oh, I was looking at Serene's comment, Merry Moistness. And
oh yeah, I
was
thought
like,
I'd just change it to Moistmas because I used that last year and I think it's brilliant.
I think it's better because now I'm just thinking you're happily moist.
Everyone should be. So look, see if there's any comments. There aren't. There probably are, but I can't be asked to refresh or do anything really.
But that's what it's looking for the border wall. It looks like the American people are actually just taking, things into their own hands, and I kind of like that.
Why is this article not loaded?
It shows the balls.
Why aren't you loading? Daily Wire, why are you not loading? Apparently the wall article you linked me is refusing to open. It's fine. I'll just...
I mean, I can basically read off what the point was.
It's fine. I'll just open up another version of it. No.
Okay.
There we go. Got it.
So if you want to scroll down to where it says the the page's creator.
Yep.
The page's creator, Brian Colfage. I'm gonna call it Colfage, but
Colfaggy.
Yeah, see, that was what I was avoiding. Colfaggy. He's a Purple Heart recipient and a triple amputee. Oh, see, now I feel bad.
There's a picture of him on the GoFundMe right at the bottom. His wife is fit. I scrolled down to it. She is hot. Sorry, I just internalized that now.
No, that's fair. You got to appreciate when people look good. But like a majority of those American citizens who voted to elect President Donald J. Trump, we voted for him to make America great again. One of his main campaign promises was to build the wall. And then he writes, as a veteran who has given so much, 3 limbs, I feel deeply invested to this nation to ensure future generations have everything we have today. Too many Americans have been murdered by illegal aliens, and too many illegals are taking advantage of the United States taxpayers with no means of ever contributing to our society. Which is honestly kind of sad because there's actually very few ways that true illegals can actually pay taxes. Now, there's a bunch of different ways that left-wing journalists have spun that to say that immigrants pay a certain amount of taxes, but they never differentiate between an illegal immigrant and an immigrant.
Mm-hmm.
So, because this is a fair point, the only way that you pay into a social security tax kind of a situation is if you have a social security number. You don't have one if you're an illegal alien. So how do you get one? You use social security numbers of dead people, or you steal someone else's identity.
Right.
Both of which end up robbing that person or that estate. Like, let's say it was, one's grandfather and you're trying to collect on their estate.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now it looks like they're still alive. That doesn't work out.
No, it doesn't.
And, but it is very hard for even the illegal immigrants who are all well-intentioned, and they do exist. There are illegals that are well-intentioned but don't have the means to do, or they have something in their past that will prevent them from going through the process legally. I do feel the slightest bit of sympathy.
Mm-hmm.
Because they are genuinely good people who are just trying to make something for their families, and they usually work construction jobs and get paid in cash and pay everything else in cash.
Mm-hmm.
it's a tough sell a lot of the time, but I think that in general the whole wall idea is a good one because it'll at least deter a grand amount of illegals from simply walking across.
Yeah, I understand that. I'm certainly not gonna argue against it. I did notice a number of people quote retweeting Trump when he was praising the border forces and the army, of course, under the guise of him not, or maybe praising them as a means to not promote getting the wall, which I think is quite interesting because it brings up the articles I mentioned about Pelosi and Rush Limbaugh, where they claim that Trump got less than anything. But if I remember correctly, not that there was a mention of Trump simply vetoing something. I can't remember exactly.
I mean, he ruled, or rather, with the introduction of the Tax and Jobs Act, they basically made Obamacare unconstitutional.
Yeah, no. What it was he won't sign the short-term spending bill.
Oh yeah. They've been arguing about it recently, and
he wants the wall.
Paul Ryan announced that Trump isn't going to sign it unless the wall's in there.
I do want to quickly, for the sake of it, where is it? Is it this one? Here we are. Right, I'm going to press play on Nancy Pelosi feeling happy. She's in this little corner here, singing away. Look at her, she's so happy. Don't cringe, anyone. Oh, you can't see her anyway. Oh, that's annoying. Right in the corner of the edge as well. She's right in the corner. That's how annoying that is. It's fine. She was just right in the corner. It doesn't matter, I guess. Let's go back to this. And back up here. It's well photoshopped, can't you tell? Let's refresh it. See if it's gone up any further since. 7.3 million now. It's going up fast.
Damn. Yeah, no, I would love to see them see how they do after Christmas.
I reckon it'll have 10 million by tomorrow.
Probably. It went up by 2 million already today.
Well, it's gone up by a bit more than that. It's I tend to agree, Prosper. There is something oddly satisfying about that. So it'd be interesting to see how it progresses. I do like that Cole Faggy has made a bunch of pledges, like 100% of the donations go to the wall. Working with a law firm on legal documentation that binds the government to use funds for the wall, nothing else. If they don't come close to their goal or reach the goal, they will refund every single penny. $1 billion is the target. So that would be very interesting to see what happens. Because if the government, the government's going to shut down. It's going to happen because Trump wants the wall. The Democrats don't want to give him the wall. We talked about Pelosi last week with the Senate, and Trump can get through Congress, not the Senate. It's kind of It's a case that he can't get it through, so everything's on hold until he gets what he wants on it. And people are already focusing on other things like the economy, because apparently that's going through a downward turn at the moment.
Yeah. Well, they thought that the bear market would come quickly, because it's been going on this up spike for unusually long.
Okay. So what happens there?
What happens now? Well, if the government shutdown does end up happening, then government employees get time off.
Right.
And we don't have to go into work, and we get paid. Well, I say we, but the other American government employees, the ones that actually take direct government spending.
Okay. Well, that answers that then.
But that's how it ends up actually working out in the end. So I mean, it ends up being a nice little Christmas vacation after all.
I don't know what to add to that.
That's about it.
I love that the chat is talking about trebuchets. Trebuchets are fun.
It was Saki's idea to launch the illegals over the wall.
Of course, it was his idea.
I inquired about perhaps a ballista.
Ballistas are okay. Trebuchets are a bit more fancy.
Yeah.
Okay, should we move on to the next topic, or?
Well, first I want to comment on Prospero's comment. Wall Street panics at the drop of a hat these days. It's actually very true, because there was an article by the Wall Street Journal that legitimately told people to sell because the bull market wouldn't last. So it's like, that literally causes the down spike, right? When you tell people to get out of the investment.
And yes,
it's like it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. When you make a comment saying like, "Oh, you better sell now," you send that out to everybody who has a good amount gained. They're like, "Yeah, it's a good idea." Everyone sells, and then suddenly everything crashes.
It sounds lame.
I hate self-fulfilling prophecies.
It sounds terrible, to be honest.
Yeah, but it's what we got right now, and honestly, I hope that things end up going well for a little bit longer, because then I don't want the spike to be as drastic.
Okay.
I'd like it to level a little bit.
Right. Shall we move on to the next topic?
Yes.
Okay.
This one's actually
we're gonna do yours. Okay.
Well, yeah, I just wanted to do this one because I know this may end up being a little controversial.
Okay.
The New York Times article.
Yep, got it.
So, Trump withdraws from Syria, saying that we have won against ISIS.
Congratulations.
Kind of. So this was met immediately with some backlash from Republicans and several others on Capitol Hill on both sides of the aisle, saying that this was a bad move. Because ISIS is in fact not dead yet, in the sense that it still does have individuals in there. And even the Kurds that the U.S. has been backing have been saying that a pullout now would cause a strong resurgence in the ISIS numbers.
Is ISIS or is ISIS isn't? Yeah, it's a...
ISIS is?
Technically the IS, because it's just the same thing. Some
Islamic
people
State,
say
yeah.
ISIL, and others would say Daesh, because they don't want to recognize ISIS for what it is, which is Muslim.
Sure. See, Prospero, I'm on your side with this one here. Never should have gone in the first place, but that's a very interesting thing that he says. Let's see if it's in this article.
What's that?
Conveyed via Twitter. If you click that, that's a Twitter post.
You DM it to me?
It's in the article if you click it. Like, that was his announcement that we were leaving.
Well, the video and...
In the New York Times article, do you see where in the second paragraph it says, "But his decision conveyed via Twitter"?
Oh, sorry, I was highlighted. Oh, thank you /.dash for the £1.99. Who's daddy? Trump, apparently. Okay, give it a second. Socky has donated £2 to say sock puppet daddy, and that's going to pop in a second. I'll let you two debate that.
I just sent you two more tweets that I found were interesting about this situation that I think are relevant.
I'll have to... Thank you, Socky, by the way. Oh, it's an image. I can't... Oh, hang on.
It might be easier.
I'll do this, because it's quite... Yeah. Okay, so I'll scroll in. Does the USA want to be the policeman of the Middle East, getting nothing but spending precious lives and trillions of dollars protecting others who, in almost all cases, do not appreciate what we are doing? Do we want to be there forever? Time for others to finally fight. Getting out of Syria was no surprise. I've been campaigning on it for years, and 6 months ago, when I very publicly wanted to do it, I agreed to stay longer. Russia, Iran, Syria, and others are the local enemy of ISIS. We were doing their work. Time to come home and rebuild. Hashtag MAGA.
In my opinion, that is one of the most responsible things I've heard from a president regarding warfare in a long time.
Oh, thank you /.dash for the £4.99 to say, I said, who's daddy? Who's daddy? Trups?
Who is daddy?
And thank you, Socky, for the £2 to say, I had no more shekels either. I hate being poor. You didn't have to donate. Thank you anyway, though. Kids got Monster Munch. Okay.
Well, speak up next time. Saki, stop.
Yeah, Socky, stop. Because I don't want you to have to move out of your lovely tent you showed me a picture of earlier.
But honestly, the fact that this got the backlash that it did, really surprised me. Because what he says here in these tweets is very real. It's very true. Do you really want the U.S. to be everyone's police officer? Do you want to be the enforcer of the world?
So his donation just popped. Took a while for some reason. I don't know if okay, so the tweet he put out, the original one which I put up, we have defeated ISIS in Syria, my only reason for being there during the Trump presidency. I don't tend to agree that he's defeated ISIS at all.
Yes, I agree with
that. But I will also say ISIS doesn't exist solely in Syria.
Yes, also true.
Let's look at the replies.
But
oh, Trump's faced in toast.
What did I toast?
Oh, Trump's face in toast.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's the thing.
It is sinful to lie, right? Coffee. Yeah. Mission accomplished was already taken. Oh, thank you /.dash for the 79 pence. It's very kind of you. So much winning I can't handle the winning the stock market GM 17 investigation. So much winning your wife must be happy with the payoffs winning. Right. I normally look at Trump's tweets because they're a fantastic source of criticism. Because it doesn't matter what he tweets out, he will get horrific abuse.
Yeah, it's kind of... And it's not even like if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Like this one, pulling troops out of a place we shouldn't have been in. That's a pretty good thing. Most people would agree.
Well, why was the US in Syria to begin with, and why was Europe still taking quote Syrian refugees if they were busy fighting ISIS in Syria?
Ooh, so I watched several history recaps of this whole thing. It's because Syria is currently being played as a proxy war for several world superpowers, where Russia and Iran are backing al-Assad. Israel is trying to keep Hezbollah from getting Iranian weapons. Turkey is taking in Syrian refugees, but also considers the Kurds to be a terrorist organization. The Kurds being the allies of the United States. And I'm pretty sure there was somebody else who was involved. No, there's just a whole bunch of rebels then after that. So there's like 6 or 7 rebel groups that are within, and then there's ISIS.
Yeah, I was curious, I have to admit. I never really followed the history that much. I never followed the warfare. I lost interest after the Iraq stuff. So I just don't follow it anymore. I've always wondered why why people were still there. I know we have troops stationed abroad as well. I often wonder why Gitmo was still a thing in your country. I thought that was meant to have been shut down during the Obama administration.
It's because we didn't have a place to put the terrorists.
Why
We
don't you
weren't gonna necessarily put them within the United States. That is not necessarily.
stick them on the UN
point of
soil
a-
then?
Yeah, good one. That's a yeah. We'll put them right. We'll put them right in New York.
Not in
That'll
the
make
no
the
no
New
no no
Yorkers
no
feel safe.
no no. It's fine. Stick them in the UN. It's all fine. It's fine. UN will keep them safe. They'll look after them.
I've been to the UN. It's not that secure. There's tours I go through quite often.
Stick them on top of a building then, and tell them the only way off is to jump off.
Yeah, there you go. I like that one.
Empty Gitmo into Brussels. There we go. Slash slot dash for the £4.99. Who is your daddy, Mr. Moist? Oh well, I think you. I know what you want me to say, but because you didn't comma it, you've pretty much. If the comma was after daddy, it would have made sense. But you said, "Who's your daddy, Mr. Moist?" without the comma, so I don't say you. Lol.
Lol. But it's interesting because what ended up happening was because of the civil war that was going on in 2011.
Yes.
Al-Assad was being threatened, or rather his power as president was being threatened. Al-Assad being Russia's one of their greatest allies in the Middle East, Russia had a vested interest in making sure that Al-Assad stayed in power.
Yeah.
Iran, being also a useful ally to Russia in the Middle East, wanted to keep Saudi Arabia's influence from
1 second.
going
Thank you,
through the
Saki, for the £5. Oh God. Saki turned on text to speech.
Turn on text to speech. I dare you.
Damn you, Saki. Thank you for the donation, though. Oh yeah, there's someone called Omegon's dad. My dad is here, in fact. Yeah, even though my dad is apparently female and only about 15.
Oh, that's awkward.
Yeah, carry on.
You can be anything in this world.
Yep.
But they wanted to keep Saudi Arabia's influence out of that area, so Iran had a vested interest in working with Russia to secure al-Assad.
Assad's been there for a long
US
time.
Yeah. He really has, and a lot of people don't like him because he's been accused of several nations, including both the US and the UK, for committing war crimes, including chemical weapons, bombings.
Not
of his own
proven.
people. Right. That was my point too. That I have a strange feeling that these were more like, kind of like when Saddam Hussein was in power. He was a very Western-style dictator of a Middle Eastern country.
Yeah.
And if you kind of saw how the rebels wanted to then take over Iraq, the ones that we helped, we ended up creating the very issue that would then come back to haunt us. So I wonder if this Western bureaucratic individual like al-Assad stays in power, he'll handle the terrorists.
Yeah.
It's not going to look great, but that's not our job to police his country.
The thing with and Prospero mentioned it, he was never supposed to be leader, but unfortunately now he is, and all these accusations keep coming in. But they never, like, Britain did the stupidest thing. They had a whole debate on the Syrian airstrike because of chemical weapons, and the government did it, and then did the airstrikes because they couldn't win the vote in the UN because the Russians vetoed it. That is the worst case of acting against democracy. You don't get your own way, so you decide, you know what, I'm going to bomb you anyway. And then when people go there and check it and can't find any bombs, we'll just, sweep it under the rug. Like grown-ups.
Yeah, and it was the US, it was France and the UK that all launched their airstrikes.
Mm-hmm.
And I have mixed feelings about it. I can't really explain it, but I don't think it was right, but I can't say for certain.
I don't support it at all.
Yeah, I mean, that's just what it is. But the interesting response to Trump's announcement of this was actually from Vladimir Putin.
Oh, right, yes, I'll pull that up. Here we are.
Ironically, from the Huffington Post.
Yep.
Vladimir Putin applauds Donald Trump's Syria withdrawal. I agree with him. Donald's right to claim ISIS has been defeated in the war-torn country, the Russian president said. Our allies say otherwise.
Well, then
Yes,
it's a
our
case of
allies
who do
are
you
also
believe
the
now,
ones.
then? Who do you believe? Who do you believe? The people who have been fighting it or the people who are there saying it still exists? You're kind of torn. Because the people who live there still can be right.
Well, yeah, I would say that both can be right, because if you imagine that Russia can handle the issue with Iran, because they're the legitimate allies, right? They've got the alliance going between them. We're just there because the Kurds and Turkey,
Yeah.
and because ISIS, which is our fault to begin with. But
Prospero does hate radical Islam. It's why when Muslims come to Russia to immigrate, he forces them to integrate within Russian culture and put Russia above their faith. That is, I have to admit, that is it's quite strong. People say that's not fair, but it's a very no-nonsense approach to going to a country when you've seen how it does not work. Integration, that is, within a lot of people who go to countries. Yes, it's normally the parents normally do integrate. The children, the first generation, are those that don't. But his approach is very no-nonsense.
Now, what's interesting is one of the videos that I was watching that was actually ironically from Vox, recapping the Syrian occupation, actually referenced the fact that the rebel groups that were originally fighting against Assad are all hardline Islamists now, because a lot of them have died, and so they needed to align themselves with a stronger ally as their numbers dwindled, which ended up being ISIL.
Yeah.
So it's almost like the more that the U.S. stops Assad from stomping out insurrection, the more we have an issue brewing for later on. And it's kind of hard to say, because of course, yes, he is guilty, or allegedly, if they were true, the war crimes that he's accused of, that would be a human rights violation of which the UN may be interested.
Yeah. By the way, before we continue, thank you /dash. This one is for Black Santa now. Slash is my daddy. Whatever. Yeah.
That is ooh.
Yeah. I don't know how to pronounce that, but thank you for correcting me and making me read that. Saki points out something actually that does make a lot of people wonder. I'm confused. Is there anyone left in Syria? I thought they all moved to Europe.
There are people in Syria, but they're mostly still fighting. But
Yeah.
yes, I understand. You have a good point.
I get the joke. I'll be honest, with the amount... the problem is, people think all of Syria emptied and ran away. Nah, a lot of them came from, like, Morocco, pretending they were Syrian, and children when they were 35. Didn't Sweden,
It just reminds me
like, take
of
some
the
of its
bench
migrants...
warmers.
Sorry, go on.
I said, it just reminds me of the clip from the bench warmers where the Puerto Rican guy just hands them a thing and says, "I'm 12."
Yeah. But that's the Swedish, they did a thing where they were trying to help integrate some migrants by giving them gun training. Like, wow.
Why?
That's how you... I don't know. Maybe they screened them and they were actually... maybe they were actually okay people. I wouldn't want to assume too much, because I don't know. Apparently I've been sent a funny picture on Twitter, so I'm going to go to Twitter. I'm going to open up my notifications, pull up this picture. Here we go.
Oh, by the way, Saki, thank you for the $1, saying, haha, you opened this up just for a paltry $1.
Okay, the meme is Trump and Putin talking. Trump says, "Bet I can make CNN say shithole 100 times now." Putin replies, "No fucking way, dude." Trump says, $5. Yeah. What else do I get notified about?
That was great, actually.
Nothing important. I really should read my tweets more often, but I just... I don't.
Now, it does say in the Huffington Post article that Putin expressed doubt that the U.S. would follow through on the Syria withdrawal.
Pull that up. Hang on.
If you scroll down,
Here we go.
he says, "We don't see any signs yet of the withdrawal of U.S. troops," Putin said. "How long has the United States been in Afghanistan? 17 years? And almost every year they say they're pulling out their troops." Yeah, he's got a point. But underneath it, one of the people who railed against the idea was Senator Lindsey Graham. Now, of course, we all talked about Lindsey Graham when he had the best response during the Kavanaugh.
Oh, yeah, he stood up for Kavanaugh, didn't he?
Yeah, he was the one that you heard his soundbite like every day. At least I did. But he said that an abrupt pullout of the U.S. Would end up just causing more issues with the ISIL combatants just regenerating their forces and their numbers to then launch another strike.
Right. Yeah, I see that.
But if we stop funding the fucking people who are fighting, then all they have to contend with is Russian and Iranian militias and al-Assad. If we just back off, we don't have to deal with it.
I've just pulled up a tweet mentioned in the article, which has a letter written by, signed by Lindsey Graham, Jean Shaheen, Joni Ernst, Tom Cotton, Marco Rubio, and Angus St. King Jr., all of whom are US senators, expressing concern.
And a majority of them are Republicans as well.
Expressing concern about this premature removal of forces in Syria. I will link this after the stream for everyone that's interested, by the way.
Well, you know what the irony is, ready? Congress didn't authorize war in Syria.
Okay.
Or rather, we didn't authorize an actual full-on war in Syria. The president sent troops in order to assist the Kurds. Cool. Now the president is doing his duty and taking them out because, we're done here. That's exactly his enumerated power. So for the senators to say we disagree with the president moving troops, fuck off. That's not your job. Get out of here. If you want to wage war, vote on it.
Yeah.
But otherwise, he's gonna do his thing, and y'all can suck it.
Well, I think you made your point.
Yeah.
Did you want to move on to one more topic?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. For this, I'm going to play a video. It's the scariest thing to ever happen in Britain ever.
Oh god.
Look to the skies.
Cardboard burning?
Clear skies. There's a small device in the sky.
Over your head.
It's a small device scaring people. What is it? Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's a tiny fucking child's drone that's stopping Gatwick Airport from operating. That isn't even a joke. It actually has happened. To the point where this drone has forced Gatwick Airport to stop. Now, I like Gatwick Airport because I grew up in a little village very near it called Smallfield, and then grew up in Reigate when I was 10. You know, I'm from that area, so I like Gatwick Airport. It's a nice place. I think Bomb Squad was actually deployed. Police hunting, by the way, for the expert drone pilot. I'm just going to say, I learned to fly helicopters first, remote control helicopters. I live by the sea. The wind is strong. I'm very, very comfortable flying them, because drones transitioning from helicopters, it was very easy. It is not difficult, even in very strong wind like where I live, to fly a drone. It really isn't. You're not an expert if you fly a drone around like what you just saw, because what you all just saw was jittery, juttery, and all over the place. To the point where there is now a BBC article, right? I think it's live coverage of it. Yeah, live coverage of it. To the point where all flights are cancelled, right? I think Chris Grayling, the current Transport Secretary, has given a statement on this. Oh, there's memes. There's a picture of Theresa May in a field, because that's a running joke, with her flying a drone in the field. And, yes, Die Hard.
I just imagine somebody coming on the radio being like, "This just in, there is a drone flying above Gatwick Airport. Everybody is advised to stay inside and indoors and away from the windows. Repeat, this is not a drill."
Well, I've got a 30-second clip here from Chris Grayling. He is the Transport Secretary, talking about this situation, about all the the flights being cancelled and what they're trying to do to fix this.
The things that we're going to be doing is temporarily, and I emphasise temporarily, lifting the night flight restrictions at other airports so more planes can get into and out of the country. Apologies to the residents affected, but it's right and proper we try and sort people's Christmases out. That will be a temporary measure, but it's one of the things we're doing to try and make sure passengers can get away properly.
So which airports will that affect, and how long will that window be open for?
Well, it's likely to be other London airports, not looking at this elsewhere, but it will only be tonight.
Basically, London's kind of stopped. It stopped because of a teeny weeny little drone. Now, I get it, because if one of those things gets into an engine, boom. I get it. It's one of those stupid little things. We have rules about this, so the person doing it is nothing more than a glorified troll. Because you have to be a glorified troll to willingly fly any device over airspace. You have to be a troll. And I can't wait for the fucking Virgin to get arrested for flying a drone over an airport. It's going to be hilarious. I would put money on them being a fat, bald person living with their mother. In Hawley, no less. Because if they're going to Gatwick Airport, they're going to be living in Hawley. It's ridiculous. This has kept flights grounded. God, I grew up around there. So, basically, the timeline, it started 9 PM, first appeared, right? Obviously, our airports don't operate much overnight. But then it appears again the next morning, continues being seen. Basically, the sporadic appearances are because drones have a very short lifespan in batteries. Top Gear did actually get into trouble for that. So you think people learn. There are actually very strict rules in our country about drones. I have drones. I know these rules. I'm not allowed to fly them in public places with the camera on if I'm going to be filming people. You have to get permission over in certain areas, and airports are absolute no-go zones.
I don't know if you guys have it, but I know that our country has police drone hunters.
Really?
They're basically larger drones that capture drones that are flying in unauthorized space.
Okay.
So that's literally their job. So, like, if you're flying... If there were I guess in this case, an airport, right?
Oh,
and they were flying a drone over it. They would send out a police drone to capture it. They would put it in a net and they would drive away with it.
Stupid thing. It's opened in the wrong tab.
Lose your drone.
Article opened in the wrong bloody window that I opened, so I can't pull it up yet. Give me a second, please. There we go. Right. The latest
Drone
update.
Lord.
Here we go. 50 sightings of drone near Gatwick. 50. Our working assumption is that it's larger than what someone would buy online. I disagree. I think it can be bought in a shop because there are specialist places in this country. I know this for a fact. You could just buy it there. And you can buy batteries with rather extended lives. However, it's equally possible this is one that has a 10-minute lifespan and takes an hour to charge, because the fact is it's been seen many times, but not for long. And
Maybe the guy just wanted to fly it in open airspace.
I'm just amazed that nobody's caught him yet. It's a fucking drone. It's black. The sky was clear today. You could have followed it home. They're not that fast either.
Yeah, how are people treating that? London being clear and sunny.
Dunno. It's London.
From what I understand, it's always supposed to be grey and rainy.
Today's been a good day for me, so I don't know if it's been the case for London.
I've had the London day, I think, here with a bunch of rain.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's been pretty wet the last couple of days, but yesterday's been good. Minus the overtime, of course.
Indeed.
Is there anything else you wanted to cover before we finish? Or shill?
No, that's about it. I had a very few things this week. Some of the interesting topics that I may talk about elsewhere on my channel, because I started doing more news on my channel.
Good.
Like the Trump Foundation actually getting dissolved by a court order. So
oh, and to answer Stargazer's question, you can sit on TrupsLP.
Oh my.
Yeah.
But in terms of shilling, subscribe to PewDiePie.
Okay. Well, I think we're done here then. I was going to make a video today, but I didn't because it was my day off, and I thought, you know what? I'll enjoy it. It's the last one I'm going to have until next Friday. So I'll make I might make a video tomorrow. If not, Sunday as always. I'll definitely sort that out soon enough. So say goodnight, Trups.
Good night, Trups.
Good night, Trups.